Welcome to Season 4 of Song Revolution, where you're going to find great information, interviews, and inspiration to fulfill your passionate calling to write great songs. Hey everybody, John here with Season 4 of Song Revolution. Thank you for joining us here in 2026. Can you believe it? Life is racing by. I hope you're making the most of it. I'm joined here today by my co-host, Bryant Urich. Bryant, are you making the most of your life, bro? It's racing by.
I'm trying, man. Every day. Trying to do it.
Just trying.
Yeah.
Well, and we're glad that you're joining us here for 2026. 2025 raced by incredibly fast, and I thought today that we would take a few minutes maybe to recap some of the highlights of 2025 as we walk with you into a beautiful new 2026. So, and we'll start with this question: what are you going to do with this year? Bryant, what do you think are some of the highlights for NCS for 2025? For
2025, there were so many. For me, the writing retreats, the in-person things that we got to do this year were really fun. We've done a lot of in-person things in the past and pre-COVID and all that, but bringing these back the last few years of just doing in-person writing retreats. We did a May retreat, we did an October retreat, and just so fun. And then we've got one coming up in May of 2026 that is already packed out. So
yeah, it's sold out in about less than 10 days after the last one.
Yeah. So fun. That was definitely a highlight for me. And then I think our team here at NCS, like this last year, we just really solidified our team, I feel like, and it's been so fun to just take on more projects and do more things and just have fun here in the office. It's always fun to be here.
I've had so many people mention the NCS staff takeover here on the podcast when I was out of town back earlier last year. And I've had so many people say that was a lot of fun. We had you and Claire Bacon, the woman with the perfect last name, Kyle Kicker, Jack Landis, and a brief little shooting star that was with us about a month and a half, Chris Crenshaw.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Chris. Everybody loved Chris, and he evaporated one day. He just never came back.
Man, what happened to that guy?
I don't know. I was kind of hoping you could shed some light on it. So
he is working with Gospel Music Association now and running a coffee shop at the museum downtown. So
that's right.
He had a really cool opportunity to go do that.
Well, here's a big shout out to Jackie Patillo, the director of Gospel Music Association, and their brand new museum. They're not even sponsoring this ad today, but we're going to take our whole staff down and visit with Chris. Cringy Shaw. Wow. Cringe. What does Jack call him? Cringy. Cringeman. That's right. But that's we do have an amazing staff here, and we're going to be featuring our staff throughout the year. Of course, Bryant's here with me all the time, and is one of the gangstas in Eau Claire, and Kyle Kicker running tech behind us today, and Justin Barnett, who is also one of our NCS Records worship artists. Mm-hmm. And so we need to get Justin over here. That would be fun.
Yeah, we got to do that this year.
And so you guys have some great things coming up this year with Eau Claire.
Yep. We have several. We've already got a great release schedule for this year. 4 songs in the can. Worked with a great producer and new friend, Scott Mills, who's part of the band Colony House. And just have been blown away by working with a producer. We've always self-produced our songs, so it's always been like a group effort of just bringing these songs to life. So having someone in that seat and taking us in a little bit of a new direction, it's just been fun to work with a producer.
I think for me, a couple of the highlights for 25, number one would be Eau Claire launching on the label here with You, Me, the Kids, and then Help Me Out. 2 very distinct tracks.
Yeah.
But we've had some great streaming, and just working those singles this past year has been a lot of fun. But also the birth of NCS Records, which is Eau Claire, myself, I'm on the label. We have Justin joined
Barnett,
us,
Annalise, and then we have Clark Beckham.
Big
highlight of 2025, signing Clark as his home for a recording agreement. And we've been working with him on crafting out 2026 and 2027 releases and projects and things that we're going to be doing together. So that's a huge highlight for this year.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Annalise Sherrod has joined us, and she's a young singer-songwriter and incredible talent and incredible heart. And her music is going to be really fresh and exciting for our listeners. So we're excited about that. And so it's going to be a big year. I think I'd be remiss to not mention that NCS Community has been a huge highlight this past year.
Yeah, definitely. It's been growing. I remember starting it and it was like me and 3 other people and, maybe 5 at the time. But now we have just a ton of new members joining every month. And I know our goal was to grow that and have 100 members this year. And in 2025, we came right up to that. So I'm super pumped to see where that goes this next year.
Yeah.
And just more opportunities. I think as that community has grown, we've been able to incorporate more things and bringing more guests in and having conversations with our team and doing song critiques and giving people real actionable feedback on their songs. So yeah, it's been a great thing this year.
Yeah, you mentioned the podcast, and we're in our 8th year. You and I randomly met at a coffee shop in 2017. We've told that story, and you will always be the coffee creeper in my phone. But 200 and however many episodes later, we're still going strong, and just really value our listeners. We value you guys watching today. You're why we're here, and to be able to bring our combined experience, over 50 years of experience between us, and I have most of those years, but that's okay. I'm at peace about that. But we want to continue this year to bring you valuable content, great interviews, a lot of teaching, just a lot of content that you can put to use in your own songwriting. So, yeah, a lot of fun. Speaking of the podcast from last year, which interview do you think was the most powerful for you? I know you weren't always in the seat interviewing them, but you're definitely in on everybody that's been, in the hot seat here.
One that I really loved, our new-ish friend, I've known her for a long time, but Jamie Jamgochin, who was on the podcast recently, we just I think all of us instantly connected her heart for pastoring and also songwriters and songwriting, and she has a new book, and it was just a really cool interview and a fun time. We had to show her around the studio, and that was one of my faves.
I really, really loved her too, and she's going to become one of our coaches, which is exciting, and we're happy to welcome Jamie Jam, jamiejam.com. I'll give a big shout out. It's actually JAIME.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not the typical Jamie, jam.com. And you can go check out her music. Wonderful heart for God. And she's been around a minute and was part of the early history of centricity music. And but anyway, just a sweetheart. So she's helping us with clients now. And it's really wonderful to have you aboard, Jamie, if you catch this episode. I think another episode that I really enjoyed from last year was Sarah Kroger. I've really enjoyed her music, and she's just a very deep heart for God, has a bit of the mystical about her, and I mean that in the best way. And we talked a lot about some of the Catholic writers that we enjoy, and really that whole episode was about finding joy during the dark night of the soul, a desert experience, which she was pretty open about, going through her own dry season. And so if you, as one of our viewers today, if you're going through any kind of dry season or a dark night in your own journey with the Lord, I invite you to go back and listen to that Sarah Kroger episode. It was very meaningful, and we shared pretty openly about some of those times in our lives. Yeah. And she's got a great book out called Belovedness, I think.
Nice.
And it's a great book. And to love her music. Yeah.
One that sticks out to me too, Galen Crew, who's a friend of yours, new friend of mine, who came over and just shared such a cool, unique path in music for him. I mean, the guy blew up in China, of all places.
And didn't even know it.
Millions, billions of streams, I'm pretty sure.
More than Bieber.
And his music actually, it was a whole legal thing where they took the masters and put them on Chinese DSPs, which is not cool, but he figured all that out, and now it's just been a cool little thing for him to be able to go over there and tour and play shows, and people know the words of his songs, and that's like so uncommon and cool, and that's a great episode.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and we need to have some of these folks back on because they're really interesting. Andrew Greer is a newer friend of mine, and we sat down here at the podcast table, and we had such a delightful conversation. I made him do 2, and that's kind of unusual, but we had a great time. Just went kind of deep pretty quickly, and he's a brilliant mind. He has a PBS documentary out on Plains, Georgia, and he's a bit of an expert on now the late President Jimmy Carter, and has a new book out about Jimmy Carter's Sunday school lessons, because even up into his 90s, Jimmy Carter was teaching Sunday school. I think it's Plains Baptist Church or First Baptist Plains, something like that. But Andrew Greer, I mean, he's really a sharp dude, and a lot of wisdom there, and a real depth, to him. I'd love to have him back again.
Yeah, I love it. So. It's been cool too, just to hear stories from within our community this year of, songwriters. I mean, we had a bunch of writers here for the retreat, but the stories that I feel like came out of this year of just getting to know our songwriters has been so rich. And a few of those have sparked new songs and new relationships and new partnerships, things that we're releasing this year because of conversations that happened last year and stories that we shared. So it's just been really cool to get to know our people in our NCS community just even deeper,
everyone has a testimony, some place that they've been, a hard place that God's brought them out of. I mean, I don't know how you could be human for 10 minutes without going through something, right?
Yeah.
And I think of Mike and Nick McCrae. We're going to be sharing their story throughout this year. And Nick is becoming a new NCS collective artist with us, and he and his dad write songs, and they just started writing last year, and we're already releasing music. So more to come on the McCraes.
Yeah, we need a whole podcast on that.
You know what? We need to have them here and talk with them through that.
Yeah,
so
that'd be great. Hey everybody, we'll get right back to the episode in just a second, but if you're a songwriter who wants to grow in their craft, finally finish those songs that have been stuck in your journal for years, and connect and collaborate with Christian songwriters from around the globe, NCS Community is the place to start. We meet every week to offer accountability, training, resources, masterclasses, feedback, and song critiques on things that you're working on. And it's just a great place to connect with other Christian songwriters and encourage each other on the journey of becoming a great songwriter. NCS's mission has always been to empower Christian songwriters worldwide, and we'd love to see you there. So check it out, NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com/community. You can find all the details there right on our website, and we'd love to see you inside NCS Community. Check it out.
Well, I thought maybe as we take a few more minutes to talk about this year, I'm very thankful for 2025, but now that we're into 2026, it's time to get busy. And I remember at the end of our October retreat, the word the Lord put on my heart for the closing remarks was that we're late for work, that it's really time to get up and get serious about what God's calling us to do. And I believe, those of you watching, I don't think you'd be watching this particular podcast or listening to us if you really didn't feel some kind of tug in your heart to write, to sing, to lead worship, to perform the songs God's put in your heart. And so we want to encourage you to take some decisive, inspired action this year. And what was kind of on my heart, Bryant, to talk about for the rest of the show is just making the most of your writing time. When people, talk to us about the challenges that they have in their lives around their songwriting, I think a couple of things come up. Number one is writer's block, and we've talked about that. I think we should dedicate some time to that this year. But they talk about time. those are the two that and money when it comes to
Right.
production and
Right.
marketing and promotion, all that. So I thought maybe today we would actually start with talking about how to make better use of your time
I love that.
any given day and week, because what I find, and I don't even try this anymore, but I think when I was a younger writer and I was busy and I was working maybe a couple of jobs and newly married, but I wanted to write. And so I might set aside an hour or two a week. Maybe it's a Saturday, maybe it's a Sunday afternoon. But by the time I got there, I just was tired,
Yeah.
and it's like sit down to write, and before I know it, I'm digging around the refrigerator for the mayonnaise to make a ham sandwich because I don't have anything to say, right?
I like that the first ingredient was mayonnaise. I went searching for the mayonnaise so I could make a ham sandwich.
Well,
Oh, that's good.
that's what I think about, ham and
Yeah.
mayo on bread. But anyway,
There you go.
it's like, what I have discovered about myself is that if I'm not inspiring myself every day, if I'm not taking time to read a little bit or listen to music or just be quiet or feed my intellect, read a book, read the word, pray, worship, if I'm not doing those things on a consistent basis, it doesn't have to be hours and hours every day. It never is, really.
Yeah.
But if I don't do that on a more regular basis, when I sit down to try to write, I'm just empty.
Yeah.
And so I think that, that's where I would start.
Totally. And even like scheduling, like getting to know your rhythms and routines, right? Energy cycles or whatever you want to call it. Like I do that a lot because I'll put something off to the end of the day and think, well, we'll get through dinner and get the kids down and then I'll do this. And then it reaches 8:30 and I'm just zapped. I'm like, been running around all day. So if you set yourself up that way, rather than like maybe starting out the day when you're fresh and you're not sleeping in, you're getting up early to do the thing, just figuring out what works best for you. Some people are night owls and they can get through their whole day and go, I'm going to dedicate an hour or two to in the quiet hours of the night or whatever. So just finding out what works best for you in your current season of life. And, if you have little ones like me, it's probably not going to be at 8:30 or 9 because you're just zombie mode. But yeah, I think that's huge. You've got to figure out when you can realistically dedicate that time. Otherwise, you'll just keep punting it to the next day and the next day and the next day indefinitely until you don't do it.
And I think that's a real thing. I mean, and what the results of what you just said are discouragement.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that probably a lot of the people that are watching us or listening today feel really discouraged about their songwriting because they've gotten to the writing room or sat down with their guitar or keyboard or even just with their pen and paper and nothing's happening. And then the more you do that, the more often you do that, it's kind of compounds, right? It's like it goes exponential and you get to the point where you just don't even try anymore. So I mean, you still want to. It's kind of like saying I want to lose 10 pounds, but I just ate a bunch of bonbons. Yeah. And then you get discouraged and then you go eat more bonbons and you
feel...
the
last thing you feel like doing is working out or going to be inactive. Yeah.
Right? I mean, so the discouragement becomes insurmountable at a certain point, right? So what would you do about that?
I would put the bonbons away and I'd go for the ham sandwich. I feel like there's way more protein and way more, good calories in a ham sandwich. No, I think, how do you recover from that? I don't know. I think for me, I mean, that cycle of discouragement or just like getting stuck in that trap, it can be really hard to climb out of. And I think you've got to have a win. And a lot of times what we talk about on our community calls, like through the week, is the accountability that comes from having people around you. And like, just even if you're in that cycle, doing the work to show up to a call, show up to your notebook or sharing a song with somebody, kind of chips away at that discouragement. And over time you can kind of get your mojo back, get back into writing. So we talk a lot about just consistency of showing up. And when you do that with other people who can inspire you, whether it's your fellow songwriters or people you look up to, your heroes. You can eventually break out of that cycle, but it takes work and it takes dedication, just showing up every day.
I think you really hit on something with the practice, with the discipline of showing up. There's a very, very famous book from 25 years ago or so, Julia Cameron's book called The Artist's Way. It's not a Christian book, but it's still one of the most beloved books on creativity. And she stresses that over and over about having an appointment, to write. And really making that time. And I think a lot of writers wind up being pretty undisciplined and not really practicing their writing. They're not serious enough about it. Or maybe they're so discouraged that they've lost their mojo. And they're, if you're waiting on inspiration to hit, you might be waiting a while. And I remember something Tony Wood, way back in our early podcasting days here on Song Revolution, he said most people wait till they feel like writing to write. He said, but I sit down and I write until I feel the inspiration. And I think that's really important. It's like if you have a practice, whether it's the practice of prayer, who feels like getting up at 5 and praying every day? Who in the room does that, right? I mean, it's like, no. But, if we want to grow in our songwriting, we're going to have to set aside time. We're going to have to be more disciplined, not in a legalistic way, but in a more serious way, and just getting real. Hey, this is what you really want and you really feel called to, treating it a little more seriously, a little more like a job, even if it's a part-time job, to just show up more often. And that's what Julia Cameron talks a lot about, is just showing up at the same time. And I've studied so many success guru people, Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, love these people. Lisa Nichols was a big one for me back 10, 11 years ago. And they all talk about the same thing, just showing up every day at the same time to do whatever it is most important to you.
Yeah, when you hit on it, like the legalistic thing, because it's like if I grew up in church, doing all the things you do as a pastor's kid growing up in church, and it's like you can get very legalistic in things that are supposed to be good and fun, and like you said, prayer time, reading your Bible, you can get so legalistic in that you can fall into that shame cycle, basically, of like, you can do the same thing with writing if you get so legalistic. Obviously, the perfect ideal scenario is like, I'll wake up every day at 7 a.m. and I'll eat an amazing breakfast and I'll jog for a mile and I'll go to the gym and I'll take my vitamins.
Easy to say.
And I'll this long list of things that's totally impossible to do in a day, every single day. And a lot of people talk like that's the goal, right? This perfection. And the truth is we're never going to hit perfection. Maybe you might hit a day where you check off all those boxes, and maybe you're way better than me and you do that consistently. But more often than not, we're going to have to just roll with the punches and flow. And you can dedicate that time. But I think if you fall into that legalism, you'll tank faster than just rolling with it and finding out what your rhythm is and what season you're in. So again, we strive for that like structured thing, and that's great to have a benchmark, but I think it's also being realistic with expectations and not being too legalistic. Yeah, I think you know it.
Well, I hate to tell you, but we are all better than you. And
I knew it.
Yeah, it's true.
That's why I came here to get better.
I hate to break it to you here, on our international podcast, but the first podcast of 26. But
I went for the bonbons.
You went for the bonbons again. Man, that's what happened to you. You went back to the bonbon box, but
full circle. That's called a callback, by the way, in comedy, or in songwriting. So take that.
Yeah, there you go.
Tip.
Yeah, well, I think what we're saying here is that if we really feel called to something, then we need to put in the effort and to really show up at least a little more often instead of trying to write on empty, and to feed our intellect, to feed our spirit, to really, feed our musicality, and to just be more dedicated to the craft. And that's what this year is going to be about here on Song Revolution. And really in everything that we offer, our NCS community is just a fabulous place to start. We meet with songwriters online every Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Central. Bryant leads the charge and I come in and out. And we offer some great critique and some great opportunities there for people.
Totally. We did a really cool thing at the end of last year that I think is a staple now that we're going to do annually, and it's like a songwriting roadmap for your year. And so essentially we did a Zoom call. We offered it to our community members, and I think we had 38 people take us up on it, which kind of caught us off guard, but we got them all scheduled and kind of tag teamed and got the team involved. But we took 30 minutes and just talked about goals and if at the end of next year, what would you like to see? Where would you like to be in your songwriting? And kind of just reverse engineered that process and then spit out this kind of roadmap thing on a website where they could see all the things in their own words, what they shared, and then with some timelines and just action steps and things. It was amazing. It actually worked really well. Everybody was really thankful for that, just to see their own thoughts and words kind of put into a structure. And to give some sort of like roadmap for the year to say, oh, well, at the end of the year, I want to be here. And so I think that was it's just eye-opening for a lot of people to be able to put those into words and see them come out. And so we've thought about doing a check-in, 6 months through the year on those goals. But I think for you, if you're not a part of NCS community, you didn't get to do that exercise, it's still a very good thing to do. Plan out your year, look ahead, and like you said earlier, treat it like a job or something that maybe you work full time in a different capacity, but this is something that you're passionate about and you want to do. So give it some energy, give it some planning, look ahead and say, this is where I want to be. So that's just one of the things that we did this past year that was super beneficial and helpful. And you can apply, on your own, but obviously if you're in NCS community, will help you do that as well. So
yeah, Bryant, the number one reason authors are not published, they never write their book.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
and it's easy to say I want to be an author, or I want to be a songwriter, or I want to have a ministry, or I want to do this or that. And it's another thing to get up off your blessed assurance and do it. And so I think this year is going to be all about learning how to make the most of our time, to really realize that time is short. The culture seems to just be unraveling on so many levels, and it's time for us as Christian believers to bring the hope of Jesus in our songs, to bring deeper worship, to bring more authenticity, to bring more of who we are as human beings into the worship arena. And we could spend a whole other podcast on that, but anyway,
totally.
Anything you want to close out with today?
It's great. I mean, I think I would just encourage anyone who is stepping into this year and wants to pursue this thing and wants to like actually put legs to it, like you're saying, actually write the book, actually write the song. Just do it. Just action is the thing that will determine whether you're successful or not. And so you can sit around and you can think about it, you can talk about it, you can tell your mom about it, talk to your friends about it, but it's never going to materialize until you take action and take that step. So we offer things that help people take those steps, and NCS community is one of those. But I think it's just more a matter of, are you dedicated enough and ready to take action and to actually put it into motion? So I say do it. Go for it.
I've had thousands of people contact me through the 10 and a half years we've had NCS, and they want to send me a song, and then they ask me, am I good enough? That's been the number one question. Am I good enough? And I finally realized after maybe 678 people did that that's the wrong question. The right question is, are you called enough? Because odds are you're not good enough in the worldly sense of that, musically, lyrically, production values. It's not about being good enough. It's about being called enough to invest what you need to invest in time, in money, in education, in learning, in production, in marketing and promotion. It takes a lot. And so if you are really wondering, are you good enough? I want to ask you to change that script. Flip the script and just start asking yourself if you're called enough to spend a little more time each day, a little more time each week, and to invest in yourself by joining NCS Community, where you can get so many resources. You can find fellowship. You don't have to be lonely anymore. You can really join a group of dedicated Christian songwriters who are giving their lives to bring the hope of Jesus to the world. So, Bryant, thanks for being here today.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure. I think I'll go ahead and wrap up just by inviting you, our viewers, to like and share the podcast on all of your social platforms, and then check out the show notes. There's a lot of gold in the show notes for you, and check out what we offer at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. We're happy to be with you for season number 4 here in 2026. Let's not let this year slip by without showing up in a bigger way. All right, you guys have a great week. We'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for joining us on today's episode. Be sure to check out all the information below in the show notes, and be sure to like and share. We'll see you next time.